I have read Tom Bowers' Rebel Prince, and it is is a very, very thick and compelling book. But he has done an interview saying that he believes that Harry and Meghan's relationship is at a crisis point, and he says that they want different things and they face a fight for survival. What do you think of that take from Tom Bower on Harry and Meghan?
I think they're always at a crisis point. Because they've left the royal family, and the royal family are working for the nation, United Kingdom, Commonwealth, and putting things into life. They've taken the celebrity route, which means they have to completely reinvent themselves the whole time to keep in front of the public, public opinion. So they do, which they do quite effectively, but they're always changing direction. Therefore, they must always be at a crisis point. I have a feeling this story is going to end badly, certainly for Prince Harry.
How do you mean?
In the long run. Well, I don't see it lasting. I mean, I don't wish them ill, but I just, if you look at... People actually always act in character. I mean, I'm a biographer rather than a journalist, so I look at how people deal with their lives, and she's dumped her father, her first husband, Jessica Mulroney, the entire British royal family. Who is next to the chop?
Well, who's next in line?
Exactly.
You're suggesting possibly Prince Harry.
Well,
they say it's a crisis
when she doesn't
point,
need him anymore, she'll dump him.
In terms of Tom Bower's book, I interviewed him actually recently for his Victoria, for the House of Beckham book, and he doesn't pull any punches, so I can imagine that this book will be that again. But what will be... I was thinking about it when I heard about this book. I thought, OK, what don't we know about them, or what area of their life hasn't been examined? We've obviously had endless reports about them from themselves as well, including their Netflix series and Harry's book, everything over the last few years. What's been sort of the one area that possibly will be, ripe for examination is the last 12 months, because there has been a lot of redirection for them, as you've mentioned. There's been, deals collapsing, so the last 12 to 18 months, deals collapsing, Meghan's launching a new business that has had a few twists and turns and snafus, and there have been more reports than ever about the state of their relationship, both professionally and personally. We don't know what the truth of that is, but I don't know that this book will be able to also find out for sure, but that's an area that we haven't examined, and it's an area of, I think there has been some turmoil, just even professionally. We can see that from the way that some of the businesses and their ventures have gone recently. So that's probably the part that I'm interested in. I hope there's not more re-examination of prior to that, because surely we've done that now, even by them. We've all talked about it.
It's the relationship between Harry and Meghan that is the most fascinating, because, we have body language experts, you have all these kind of experts coming on saying, oh, they look like this. We see videos of them in Colombia. Harry looks grumpy, Meghan trying to take centre stage. We all analyse it all the time, and it fills online, it fills a newspaper, it fills social media. It would be nice for someone to actually give us some revelations about what is actually happening.
Exactly.
I'd be absolutely delighted if they were having a wonderful time and having a wonderful life out there. I mean, that'd be fantastic. But people will be interested in what is going on behind closed doors at Montecito.
The fairy tale is cracking, and the world can see it. Once upon a time, they were the world's golden couple, adored, envied, and unstoppable. But now, Meghan and Harry stand at a crossroads. The brand is collapsing, the love story is fracturing, and for Prince Harry, it could all end very badly. Behind the smiles and carefully staged appearances, royal insiders say tension is boiling over. Meghan and Harry are no longer in sync. Their goals, their public image, even their personal ambitions are clashing. Meghan is desperate to relaunch herself as a Hollywood power player. Harry, he's a man torn between the woman he loves and the world he abandoned. And that internal war is eating him alive. From Spotify walking away to Netflix reportedly losing patience, the Sussex empire is cracking. Their commercial deals are drying up, their public favor is fading, and for a couple who built their identity around being seen and adored, that's lethal.
Absolutely. I think it's the state of their relationship right now is what people are interested in, because there has been so many contradictory reports about how they're faring in their new life. I say this because it's been 5 years since they left, but how this life is panning out for them in California, and whether or not that has been helpful or detrimental to their relationship. I think that's the part we want to look at.
He's also... Sorry, Hugo.
I live in a certain amount of chaos, and I found a copy of Hello magazine lying on the floor, and I picked it up, and there was a picture of Prince Harry grinning and looking so happy. And I thought, hang on a minute, what's this? Dated from 2015. He does not look a happy man now.
No, we've discussed this a few times, and there's been many occasions, I think, particularly Invictus in Canada recently, where And I was in Germany, Invictus, a couple of years ago, and there's just a change. When
Yes.
Meghan arrives, everything gets tense. When she's not there,
You bet.
Harry's having drinks with his friends and stuff like that. So Tom Barrow also called the Sussexes relentless and restless. Do you think that's an apt description,
Yes.
particularly in the last couple of years?
Yes, I do. Yes, I certainly do. I mean, as I said before, they're always having to change direction. They're always having to go to new things. And I think that's why there's a certain amount of tense behaviour in their office, because, sort of nobody knows what's the next thing is going to happen. If things are going well, then people on the whole actually are usually quite calm and enjoying themselves. But if things are going badly, it's like, that's your fault, we've got to move on, you got that wrong,
It's a really interesting point. So the fact that they're diving off in so many different directions kind of shows there isn't like a proper management or a proper course, an agreement behind the scenes.
Well, I would have said so. And I watched a little bit of the cooking program, and she's sort of dissecting petals and scattering them over salads in other people's kitchens. I mean, there's no recipe given at the end. There's no way of following these things. So it's not really about food. It's all about her.
Every move they make feels forced, desperate, out of touch. The world isn't buying the fairy tale anymore. And without the cameras, what's left? Just two people, and a lot of resentment. Let's be honest, Meghan runs the show. She's the strategist, the one pushing projects, interviews, and brand deals. Harry, he's the face, but no longer the voice. Sources say Harry feels isolated, misunderstood, and increasingly irrelevant. He left the palace seeking freedom, but found himself in another kind of cage. One built by celebrity, control, and constant pressure to perform. If this continues, the emotional toll will be devastating. For Meghan, it's business. For Harry, it's personal. It's his identity, his legacy, and it's slipping away. Experts warn this isn't just a PR crisis. It's a full-blown personal one. The cracks are showing, the loyalty is fading, and even Harry's inner circle believes the endgame could be near.
The relentless and restless, I think that piece that came out earlier this year in Vanity Fair, I think that spoke a lot to professionally why that seems to be the case. Those words especially, in the terms of them not really having a clear idea of what they're doing. And we have spoken on this show a few times about how that seems to boil down to the post-royal identity crisis for both of them, which is that they are in a royal no man's land. There isn't really a blueprint for them to follow to find success, career-wise after leaving working royal duties. And so therefore that has to add a lot of pressure. And it also could, the fact that they don't seem to have landed on paths, although Meghan is in the midst of it now and we will see how this new venture plays out for her. But for Harry as well, it doesn't seem like they've really figured out exactly who they want to be or who they're supposed to be after leaving the royal family.
Do you think they're at a crossroads, or they're at a junction at the moment in their career? Or?
I think Harry still is. You sort of get the impression that he'd be really happy to just sort of be surfing and doing some charity duties every once in a while, but that's clearly not Meghan's focus. And that in itself is a relatively relatable issue, which is when couples reach those points where they're branching off with different goals for their long-term future. Meghan wants to be a billionaire celebrity. I think Harry appears to be happy to just do a few charity engagements and focus on those things that he likes. But outside of that, it has to be adding pressure to, and of course we don't know for sure, but from the outside, it looks like it has to be adding pressure.
I'm looking forward to hearing more from Tom Barrow, and we'll try and get him on the show and see what else he knows. Hugo, you mentioned about you watched Meghan's cookery show, which we've all had to sit through and digest and write some exciting copy on, or in my case, try to avoid writing any exciting copy on.
It did inspire some very good praise from the commentators, I thought.
I thought everyone excelled themselves, didn't they? Both sides of the Atlantic.
I particularly liked the line, I think it was Hilary Rose in The Times, who said, imagine the face of the children expecting a piece of cake in their goodie bag when they find some seeds in a decompostable pot to plant it in.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Well, there was no children in the they had children's party and no children. But it was with a heavy heart I have to talk about Meghan's latest podcast episode. Has anyone been listening to it? Did you listen to this week? Oh, sorry, Bronte has her hand up.
I did put my hand. I did listen. I will say this. They're clearly good friends. Katie Lee seems that he's a very accomplished businesswoman.
Well, they pay each other compliments a lot and laugh at each other's jokes. Does that necessarily mean that they're good friends?
I know. I'd like to go on the show and just be lavished in praise. It seems to be what you get when you go there. But it was genuinely a pleasant conversation. But again, this is supposed to be providing tips and insight into building business. And I was about 2/3 of the way through when I realised they hadn't touched on that at all. And that's the purpose of the podcast. So it just doesn't seem to be leaning into anything meaty or anything that you can really take away from it, which is, or its purpose. So that was my review of this one. As I said, it's a pleasant one. I don't think you'd be particularly gripped by it. I was doing other stuff while I listened to it. It was fine, but I didn't take away any solid tips, unfortunately.
Did you get through it, Hugo?
I'm sorry, I've been rather busy. I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
I don't think me and you are the target audience anyway.
I don't
Let's be
think
honest.
so. No, but it's the same thing. Is that there's, there are other people who are much better at telling you these things. There are other people who are better at doing cookery programs. There are other people who are better at advising how to found a business. I mean, they're sort of latching on to things.
As one royal insider put it, Meghan will move on when it no longer serves her image. Harry will be left to pick up the pieces. It's brutal, but heartbreakingly believable. If this truly ends badly, as many believe it will, it won't just destroy Harry's marriage. It'll destroy what little trust remains between him and his family. The bridges are already burned. The forgiveness? Unlikely. And when the spotlight fades, Harry will face the one thing he's been running from himself. Meghan and Harry's crisis isn't just about headlines. It's about identity, power, and love under pressure. But as history shows, when ambition meets emotion, something always breaks. What do you think? Are Meghan and Harry headed for disaster? Can their marriage survive this crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more royal truth bombs, insider analysis, and explosive commentary, because the royal story is far from over.